What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Michael Knapp Fishing. Today's video, we've got another rod specific video, but this one is something that I use really heavily in the fall and really in the winter time as well. This is actually gonna be a two-parter because they're two different rods, but we're gonna go over small, and I'm talking small, tiny crankbait rod setup. Let's roll that intro and we'll get into it, guys. All right, so small crankbaits, itty bitty little crankbaits. When I'm talking little, the biggest crankbait I throw on this setup is a Rapala Dt6. That is the biggest crankbait I throw on this setup because it is really designed for micro crankbaits. So this is the old 18 suppressor. This is the little cranking stick, the absolute smallest one we have. It's an absolute workhorse for me. It is a 7-foot medium moderate action, and it will throw up to a 1/2 ounce lure. So I know that's actually a little bit bigger, but the biggest I will go with it is a DT6 for my technique purposes. When do I use it? Where do I use it? All that jazz. This is almost exclusively winter, you know, kind of late fall, all the way into the winter. Every now and then early fall, or early spring, every now and then, not very often. As soon as spring hits, I usually transition over to my spinnerbait. The rod itself has got some amazing action to it. Look at how far it bends into the rod. I mean, it's still bending all the way back here. Look at that. It has got some amazing flex to it. It really pins those fish really well. I've had no problems losing any fish on this due to, you know, I've lost fish due to poor hook placement on the hook set, but I've never had any rod issues with fish coming off. I've got that line a little tight on there. The rod itself, it's a suppressor. Yet again, it's got the wind grips on it down here. The black and gray, I guess, is what they are. The wind grips, absolutely love those. We do have the double locker as well, as we have on all of the suppressors, and then the gray wraps all the way down the eyes on this rod. Now, you're actually able to see, I think you might be able to see the coils in the rod. You can actually feel them here as well. It just shows the quality of this rod and how it flexes and the way it's made to be able to handle a crankbait. So as far as the line, oh, I got a nick in that line there too. Good thing I didn't catch anything big on it. As far as the line goes, I'm running Slx Advanced. This is 10-pound test fluorocarbon. That is all I run is fluorocarbon, even in the winter, even when it gets super cold out and super brittle, I still run fluorocarbon. I'm gonna have to replace that whole thing of line. I then have an Slx Dc. Man, them acorns are gonna knock somebody out. This is a Shimano Slx Dc. Everybody knows how much I love the Curado. I wanted to try the SLX, and I gotta say, I love it just as much. So the SLX actually comes in a little bit cheaper than the DC. So that's a huge advantage for the SLX over the Curado. Both of them are lefties. Both of them are 6. I don't even know what 6 gear ratios. I just know they're 6 gear ratios. This is a 6:3 to 1 gear ratio. I know a lot of people kind of have that mentality of you need to be cranking with a 5. 6 is fine. As long as you understand that you've got to kind of slow it down a little bit and not go as fast with your hand or turning it. It's not a big deal to me. It really doesn't bother me. I like the 6 gear ratios, and I throw almost all of my crankbaits now with 6 gear ratios, except for like the 10XDs. I still throw those on 5 gear ratios just so it doesn't burn me out. But, you know, throwing these itty bitty crankbaits like this DT6, it's not going to burn you out throwing it on a 6:3 to 1 gear ratio. Not a big deal. That's the setup for me for my little itty bitty crankbaits. The next video is going to just be the next step up. It's not that big of a difference, but either way, I still wanted to be able to do multiple videos on it because I didn't want to go too in depth and get too confused on it. This line is really bothering me that it's frayed that much. We're actually going to be doing a video here probably closer into the winter of redoing all 30 rods with line and everything and how I go about that. But anyway, guys, if y'all like these videos, do me a huge favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment down in the comment section below. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you like cranking with, guys. You all like the DC reels to crank with? Have you ever used a DC reel to crank with? If you haven't, I would highly recommend it because it's a very, very fun reel and a fun way to be able to fish these little itty bitty crankbaits, especially when the wind's blowing into you. Take care, everybody. If you see me out on the water, come say hey.